Hello, my friends on Mundo Enneagrama. Nice to talk to you again. I am Uranio Paes. I'm here in London, where I live, in front of Shakespeare's statue on Leicester Square, with a good rock and roll in the background, to talk to you a little bit more about type 3 and focusing on what I consider to be type 3's passion and fixation. As always, I understand that passion and fixation are two very central concepts for us to truly understand the 9 types of the Enneagram. And in this case, I've been noticing that many Enneagram teachers have changed the original way that Oscar Ichazo decided to call the passion and the fixation. They have actually inverted. Ichazo called type 3's passion self-deceit, and he called type 3's fixation vanity. And I keep calling them this way because I believe this is the right way to call them. And many teachers have inverted them back. And I want to make a case for why I don't do that. And while doing this, I'll try to explain the some core things about this passion and this fixation of this interesting type of the Enneagram. So, to me, what is the passion of self-deceit? Well, self-deceit, at first, we need to understand something about 3s to understand self-deceit. We need to understand that 3s are extremely emotional. You may know that 3s are the core or the center of the emotional triad on the Enneagram, 2s, 3s, and 4s. And this does mean that 3s are very emotional, maybe the most emotional of all. They try to put emotions away. They try to come back to doing and not feeling, because they have this belief that they are no one if they just feel. They will be someone only if they do. However, this does not mean they are not emotional. In the inside, if you talk to 3s who are really willing to self-disclose, they will always tell you that they are very emotional. They may find it a little hard at times to notice this when they start doing self-observation work, but eventually they get that. They are actually very, very emotional. And knowing this is important to understand later what self-deceit is. Self-deceit has to do with an emotional ability to identify what other people want me to be and to become that. And doing this through an emotional process, not only when identifying what other people want from me or want me to be, but also in changing myself, shaping myself to be that. So it's very important, in my view, to understand that self-deceit is an emotional process, a process in which the person becomes sort of an actor who starts to play the role of his character or her character. And the idea behind this is that through my heart, using my heart, I feel what other people want from me, and I shape-shift using my emotion to become that and to be more accepted by the other person. And to me, this process is called self-deceit, and it becomes something very central for 3s. A little less visible for self-pressed 3s, maybe, but this is a theme for another time. It's not because it's less visible that it doesn't happen. And it's quite important to understand that 3s in self-deceit lose touch with who they really are, which technically means they go away from veracity. the virtue of type 3, or what gets expressed when they are in touch with the spiritual heart or the higher emotional center. This means that they start being everything they are not, and they lose sight of that thing that they really are. For instance, that they are emotional. Many 3s in personality lose sight of that, and always when they come back to essence, they need to acknowledge they are actually extremely emotional. And they are being, and they don't want to do much. It's so beautiful to see 3s. It's very inspiring to see 3s in touch with their hearts and just being less in the yang energy, the masculine energy, and being more in the feminine yin energy. This is a big thing that happens for 3s in the emotional conversion process. Well, and what is the fixation of vanity? It's not something necessarily related to my physical image or the clothes I wear, or, you know, taking care of my image in a more concrete way. To me, vanity is a belief that I am more central for things to happen than I actually am. So I begin to understand that things will not happen unless I'm here, that I make things happen, and that it's quite important that for the world that I'm around, otherwise things will not happen. So this to me is a belief, it's a concept and an idea, and it's therefore the fixation of type 3. It's not necessarily wanting to display a very good public image or an image that that special person has of me. But on the other hand, it's something related to I just see, and I have this image and this belief that I am central. This to me is the vanity that the Enneagram talks about. And this is common for all 3s. So I hope that this video helped you understand a little better type 3 people. Passions and fixations are always, to me, very, very central things to understand about each of the 9 types. And stay tuned for the next types.